I mean, I imagine you losing your virginity at like 6 years old. Not often, I don't imagine.
At 94, Clint Eastwood finally tells the truth. Not about movies, not about awards, about hate. 5 people, 5 powerful names, 5 stars he never forgave. For decades, the world believed he was calm, controlled, above the mess. That was the myth. But insiders say the silence was never peace. It was storage. For grudges, for betrayal, for rage that never cooled. At 94, the mask slips because time is running out. And when time runs out, so does protection. He didn't hint. He didn't joke. He confirmed a list exists. 5 people who crossed a line that could not be erased. 5 moments that changed how he trusted forever. 5 choices that shaped his entire second half of life. Why carry this to the end? Why reveal it now? And why did Hollywood help keep it buried? Some of these names vanished from his world overnight. No feuds in headlines. No lawsuits. Just permanent erasure. That kind of silence only comes from one place: control. And now that control is breaking. So here's the real question. Not if he hated them, but who they were. And what they did to earn that hate. Comment right now, who do you think enemy Hasson is? Like this video because the first name is the one nobody expects. And stay right here, because the list doesn't get safer, it gets darker. For most of his life, the world saw only one version of Clint Eastwood. The steady one, the disciplined one, the man who never lost control. No public meltdowns, no chaotic scandals, no emotional apologies on camera. Studios trusted him with millions. Actors trusted him with their careers. Audiences trusted him with legends. That was the brand. Quiet authority, cold precision, no drama. But insiders tell a colder story. Behind that clean image, lines were already being drawn. People were already being measured. And some were already being cut off. No yelling in public. No messy lawsuits. Just silence. Permanent silence. Actors who once stood beside him suddenly disappeared. Not fired loudly. Just never called again. Directors who praised him stopped crossing paths with him. Projects that once made sense quietly died. Friendships that looked solid simply froze. And no one asked questions. Fans defended the myth. Hollywood protected the machine. The silence kept everything clean. But silence is not peace. Silence is pressure without sound. And pressure never stays buried forever. So the real question is not who he became. The real question is, who vanished because of him? And why? Comment below, do you still believe the calm image was real? Like this video, because the moment that shattered this image is up next. And when it happens, everything changes. If you're ready, say, it didn't start with a headline. It started with a question. A late interview. No script. No warm-up. The host leaned in and asked the one thing nobody ever asked him directly. Was there anyone you truly hated? At first, he smiled. Then the smile dropped. The room shifted. There was a pause. Too long for television. Too heavy to ignore. Then he said it. There were 5. Not rumors. Not misunderstandings. 5 real people. No names yet. Just the number. And that number hit harder than any list ever could. The host tried to move on, but the moment was already out of control. A follow-up came fast. Why wait this long? His answer was quiet. Because time changes what you're allowed to say. That single line detonated everything. Clips spread within minutes. Slowed down. Replayed. Analyzed frame by frame. People weren't watching what he said anymore. They were watching how he said it. The eyes. The jaw. The tension. Insiders knew instantly. Something old had just been unlocked. Something that was never meant to be public. And once a confession starts, it doesn't stop cleanly. So now the real countdown begins. 5 names. 5 stories. 5 private wars. Comment right now, do you think he planned this moment? Like this video because the first enemy is the one that broke his trust forever. And once that name lands, there is no going back. Ready for the breakdown? This was the first name that broke his trust forever. The first scar. The one that taught him not to forgive twice. At the time, this person was untouchable. Top of the industry. Praised everywhere. Protected by power. On paper, they were supposed to be allies. Same project. Same spotlight. Same moment in history. At first, the tension was quiet. Creative disagreements. Control issues. Small power shifts. Nothing public. Then came the moment insiders still whisper about. According to people close to the production, a private decision was made without him. A move that changed the direction of the project. A move that shifted credit. A move that left him exposed. No fight in the trailer. No shouting on set. Just silence. But that silence meant one thing. The line had been crossed. From that moment on, everything changed. He finished the work. He kept his face calm. He played the professional. And then he erased them. No more calls. No more meetings. No future projects. Casting suggestions with that name? Instant shutdown. Industry people noticed. They just didn't ask why. Years later, when someone tried to reopen that connection, the answer was the same. Cold. Final. No explanation. That's the kind of cut you only make once. Comment below, was this self-respect or personal revenge? Like this video because enemy #2 is the one who humiliated him publicly. And that one cut even deeper. If you're ready, say, this one didn't stab him in private. This one did it in front of everyone. At the time, this person was everywhere. Media favorite. Audience darling. Untouchable by criticism. They shared a moment in the same orbit. Same industry. Same attention. But very different codes. Insiders say the tension had been building quietly for months. Side comments. Subtle dismissals. Small jabs disguised as jokes. Then it went public. A statement dropped during an interview. Casual tone. Sharp edge. The kind of comment you can't take back. The kind that reframes everything. Overnight, headlines shifted. Debate exploded. And his name was dragged into a narrative he never agreed to join. He didn't go on television to respond. He didn't fire back online. He didn't issue a rebuttal. He did something colder. He erased them. Projects that once seemed possible suddenly died in development. Invitations stopped coming. Connections went quiet. People close to him say that public humiliation was the line. Disagreements could survive. Embarrassment could not. Years later, when someone mentioned that name around him, the room immediately changed. Not anger, not shouting, just shut down. The door was already sealed. Comment below, was public humiliation the worst kind of betrayal? Like this video because enemy #3 is the one who tried to control him. And that battle was pure power. Ready to continue? This one didn't attack his reputation. This one went after his authority. At the time, this person held real creative power. Awards power. Studio power. The kind of power that bends rooms. On the surface, they were partners. Working together. Smiling for cameras. Shaking hands in public. But behind closed doors, it was war. Two leaders. One set. Insiders say direction was questioned constantly. Decisions were challenged. Scenes were reopened after being locked. Not once. Not twice. Constantly. To outsiders, it looked like passion. To him, it felt like a takeover. The breaking point came during a key moment in production. A scene that was already approved. Already final. The rival pushed to redo it. Again. And again. And again. Control wasn't being shared. It was being sized. That's when he stopped negotiating. He didn't argue. He didn't shout. He made a decision. The project moved forward. But the partnership ended there. After that, their paths never crossed again. Not on set. Not at events. Not in conversations. When that name came up in future casting rooms, the response was immediate. No. Nothing more. Just no. Comment below, who do you think really won that power battle? Like this video because enemy #4 didn't challenge control. They threatened his entire career path. And that one changed everything. This one didn't hurt his feelings. This one threatened his future. At the time, this person wasn't just a star. They were a gatekeeper, the kind who decides what gets made and what quietly dies. On the surface, everything looked respectful. Meetings were polite. Smiles were exchanged. Hands were shaken. Behind the scenes, something shifted. Scripts stalled. Projects slowed. Green lights faded without explanation. At first, it looked like bad timing. Then it looked like coincidence. Then it started to look deliberate. Insiders claim one key opportunity disappeared overnight. No warning. No feedback. Just silence. When he asked what happened, no one gave him a straight answer. That's when he understood. Power had moved, and it had moved against him. He didn't explode. He didn't confront publicly. He did what he always did. He remembered. From that moment on, the separation was permanent. Same industry. Same circles. No overlap. People close to him say that was the most dangerous kind of betrayal. Not personal. Professional. Because personal wounds heal. Career wounds rewrite lives. Comment below, is silent sabotage worse than open betrayal? Like this video because enemy number 5 isn't just dangerous. They're the one Hollywood still whispers about. And that one changes everything. This is the name people still lower their voices to say. The one that never leaked cleanly. The one wrapped in fear, power, and consequences. This wasn't just a rival. This was an equal. Maybe more. At the time, they both ruled different corners of the same empire. Different styles. Different followings. Same level of influence. When they collided, it wasn't loud. It was surgical. Insiders say the first confrontation happened in private. No witnesses. No recordings. Just two powerful figures in one room. After that meeting, things changed. Deals stopped lining up. Partnerships quietly dissolved. Names were removed from projects without public explanation. People close to the situation claim this wasn't emotion. This was strategy. Moves were made through third parties. Pressure traveled through contracts. Decisions came disguised as business. And that's why it lasted for years. No explosions. No scandals. Just invisible war. He never spoke that name in public. Not once. Not even decades later. Because this wasn't just betrayal. This was mutually assured destruction. Both sides knew too much. Both sides had reach. Both sides had leverage. So they didn't fight openly. They erased each other quietly. That kind of enemy doesn't fade. They hover. Even now. Comment below, do you think this was fear or respect? Like this video because what comes next is the aftermath of all 5 betrayals combined. And that's where the real damage appears. The clip didn't crawl. It detonated. Within minutes, timelines were on fire. Clips looped. Screenshots spread. Every pause was dissected. Defenders moved first, calling him honest, calling him brave, calling it overdue. Then the other side surged, calling it bitterness, calling it revenge, calling it too late. No middle ground survived. Threads stacked by the thousands. Theories collided. Names trended without confirmation. Innocent or guilty, the algorithm didn't care. Old interviews resurfaced with new captions. Side glances became evidence. Silences became signals. YouTube filled with breakdowns overnight. Body language experts. Industry insiders. Armchair detectives. Everyone had a list. And every list was different. Some co-stars went keyed immediately. Comments locked. Accounts restricted. No statements. That silence did more damage than any response could. Fans camped in comment sections demanding answers. Say the names. Confirm or deny. Stop protecting them. Pressure built by the hour. Insiders warned the situation was turning volatile. Not just for him, for anyone suspected. And once the internet smells blood, it doesn't wait for proof. Comment below, do you think the crowd is searching for truth or a target? Like this video because what comes next is how power tries to contain chaos. And that's where the real game starts. No press conference followed. No clarification. No list of names. Just silent. Publicists stopped returning calls. Studios redirected questions. Associates suddenly became unreachable. Statements were drafted, then pulled back, because no statement could win this. Insiders say crisis rooms lit up within hours. Lawyers were looped in. Media strategies were rewritten in real time. The goal was simple: contain, delay, let the storm burn itself out. Some suspected names canceled appearances quietly. Others went dark on social media overnight. A few posted unrelated content like nothing happened. That didn't calm anything. It made it louder. Every delay looked guilty. Every silence looked calculated. Every absence looked like a confession. Producers began filtering questions before interviews. Panels avoided the topic completely. Award events tightened press access. The word passed quietly: do not provoke this. He didn't help the fire either. No follow-up interview. No explanation. No backtracking. Just distance. And distance has its own message. Behind the scenes, people were choosing sides. Loyalty was tested. Careers were recalculated. Some closed ranks. Some stepped away. Damage control wasn't about fixing the truth anymore. It was about limiting how many people it could burn. Comment below, do you think silence is control or fear? Like this video, because what comes next is the aftermath, and that's where the real cost appears. The damage didn't explode. It settled. Respect didn't vanish overnight. It cracked slowly, piece by piece. Every time his name appeared after that, the room felt different. Still powerful. Still legendary. But now, complicated. Some longtime allies grew keener. Not hostile, just careful. Praise came with pauses. Support came with distance. Projects didn't disappear, but conversations took longer. Decisions felt heavier. Invitations came with conditions. The 5 unseen names became permanent shadows. No one said them. Everyone felt them. Even unrelated interviews circled back to the same tension. Not spoken directly, but always present. People close to him say the confession didn't bring relief. It brought weight. Because once something is acknowledged, it can't be locked away again. He had carried those grudges in silence for decades. Now Hollywood had to carry them with him. Some fans admired the honesty. Others felt betrayed by the timing. And both sides were loud. The legend didn't fall, but it changed shape. And once a legend changes shape, it never looks the same again. Comment below, do you think speaking now helped his legacy or damaged it forever? Like this video, because what comes next is the final judgment. And that's where the story turns one last time. Here is the question nobody can escape now. Was this confession about truth? Or was it about settling scores at the last possible moment? Supporters call it honesty. They say he earned the right to speak. They say silence was never peace. Critics see something colder. They ask why now? Why at 94? Why when no direct response can fully hit back? They call it a one-sided ending. A final move with no equal reply. People inside the industry are split the same way. Some say he was protecting himself for decades. Others say he was protecting everyone else. And that difference changes everything. Because if the silence was protection, then the confession is release. But if the silence was strategy, then the confession is calculation. Both versions fit. And that's what makes this so dangerous. There is no jury here. No verdict delivered in a courtroom. Only public memory. Only reputation. Only the story people choose to carry forward. He didn't destroy his legacy. But he didn't leave it untouched either. He reshaped it at the very end. Comment below, was this confession courage or control? Like this video, because the final piece is next. And it changes where this story goes from here. This story doesn't end with one confession. Because silence never belongs to just one side. One of the 5 is already being pressured to respond. Another is quietly lawyering up. A third has begun moving in public again after years of hiding. And that movement is not accidental. Insiders warn that what comes next won't be subtle. It won't be polite. And it won't be quiet. Because when one legend breaks the silence, another legend usually answers. Old footage is being re-examined. Private messages are being flagged. Contracts once buried are being pulled back into the light. and the internet is already choosing sides. Next episode zeroes in on the strongest suspect, the one with the most to lose, the one who has stayed silent the longest. And silence only has two meanings now: guilt or preparation. Subscribe right now so you don't miss the first response when it drops. Like this video if you're ready for the truth to turn into confrontation. Comment below, who do you think will speak first? Because when the next name steps into the light, this stops being history and starts being VAR.